What's up, everybody, and welcome to another RCQ vlog, this time for March 1st. This has been the first one in a while. We've actually had quite a few tournaments either not fire or been a dry weekend. So this is the first one that I've been able to attend prior to the regional championships that's coming up this coming week. So hopefully you'll see a lot more vlogs coming out from me and just kind of a general vlog on the whole thing. So overall today, feel okay. I have a couple minutes till the tournament starts, so I'm just quickly checking in. I'm going to play a red deck wins deck today, try to go under the mono white tokens, the overlords, going faster than the Esper Pixie and Dimir bounce decks and Dimir mid-range decks. So that's kind of the goal today. I'm also trying not to mentally tax myself prior to the regional championships, because regional championships will be modern and this RCQ is standard. So I'm trying to keep it simple and standard, at least in the short term right now, because I'm trying to keep my mind over in modern, which I'm going to definitely need some more practice on based off of my Friday Night Magic results, as well as how my playthroughs on MTGO has been going for my decks. So all that to be said, mentally I'm good. I think I got close to 7 hours of sleep, so feel good about that. And overall, I'm just excited to go play some Magic. The event we're doing today is a 1K event, so there's $1,000 being distributed to the top 8 in store credit, but that's a pretty cool little thing. They're doing it to kind of draw folks in, which, that has its pros and cons of trying to do it that way. But all in all, excited. I know a lot of the folks from the local community are going to be here, so just excited to play some Magic and see what we can do with Red Deck Wins. I'm just trying to keep my expectations reasonable. Still going for the invite, obviously, but I was trying to go for a little bit less mentally taxing deck by doing a Red Deck Wins deck versus my Dimir mid-range deck or an Esper Pixie or a Dimir bounce deck that I also have, or even the Gruul aggro deck that I also have. So with all that said, I'll check in with you midway through the day, and if I don't, I'll see you at the end of the tournament. What's up, everybody? Checking in, finally getting to do a midday check-in with these tournaments. It's I think the advantage of playing a fast aggro deck. So I played Red Deck Wins, as mentioned last time. I was playing against it's sort of a Boros. It's kind of like a Gruul aggro with some Boros in there. So really interesting kind of brew the guy came up with, but managed to take match 1 2-0. There should be, we have 15 players, 14. So I think we're gonna have 5 rounds of Swiss, and then we'll cut to a top 4 today. So feeling good overall. I got to, like I said, I got a little bit of sleep, but I got to eat some breakfast. It was a high protein breakfast. Got to eat some eggs and some bacon and a little bit of these protein pancake bite things. So, and then I had a protein shake. So high protein, low carb usually keeps me pretty sharp, doesn't keep me too tired. And so overall, mentally feel pretty good. Just got to remember to hydrate. That's always a big thing that I forget to do when I do these tournaments. So we're gonna focus on that, hydrate, and then overall the goal today is just to have fun. It's, we want to get the RC invite if we can, but we are gonna have about 4 or 5 opportunities at the regional championships in Charlotte to get requeued for the next round of RCs. So there's opportunity there as well, but be nice to do it locally too. And it's a good sized tournament. And my other RC invites have been at smaller tournaments, so it'd be cool to get one at a local tournament of decent size. So all in all, things are going well. We're gonna check in throughout the day as we can. If matches go fast, then we'll get more updates. If matches don't go fast, then there'll be less updates. So we'll catch you in the next one. Well, what's up, everybody? This is check-in number 3, I guess. Well, 1 to start the day. We had 1 after the first match. We are now after match number 3, round 3 in the tournament. We're doing 5 rounds. And so far, I'm undefeated. So it feels pretty good. Again, playing the Red Deck Wins, it's been fun. It's been getting under people. I've had a couple post-sideboard dual wins So lost first game. No, I had one of those. So round 2, I won first game, lost second game, won third game. Round 3, the one I just finished, the one I just got off from, I lost the first game against a blue-white control deck, and then I went win-win. The Sunspire Lynx, Sunspire, one of the two. I can't remember what it is. Lynx was absolutely doing some work post sideboard, swinging in. They're having 5, 6 non-standard lands or non-basic lands, and doing some big damage there. So it's exciting. I think at 3 wins, that puts me on the bubble at the least. So we'll see how many more wins that we can get. I think 4 wins is a lock-in for the finals. So again, we had 14, 15 players. I think it was 14. So we will play 5 rounds and then cut to a final 4 bracket. So all in all, pretty exciting day, and still feeling good, feeling pretty excited about the results. We'll see if we can continue to make things happen. So we'll check in with you in the next one. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the final part to today's vlog. We finished the tournament, kind of long games, the last couple games. Ended up losing out, which was rough. So finally, final score of the day was 3-2. As I mentioned earlier, the store is trying to reignite their Magic scene. So they were doing a $1,000 store credit dispersed amongst top 8. So overall, I ended up getting 5th. So my breakers didn't work out in my favor. And so missed out on making the top 4 cut, which would then been a best of 1 tournament. So I still walked away with like $50 store credit. It was very practical. I just used it to get some more cases for my cards. So like put my different decks in different cases. I kind of ran out, and grabbing 1 or 2 would be nice. And then having a couple spares, not a bad idea. So that's all I did with it. Didn't do anything exciting. There was none of the singles I really needed. I've been pretty good about buying singles as I need them for the decks. Maybe too much so. I won't lie, I've probably spent too much money on this hobby so far. But the long and short of it is I was trying to quickly get into this game and get into this game at a high level. And so I've been buying into the decks that are performing well. And so Standard is a little interesting. This is my first Standard RCQ season. And it's interesting because the decks aren't super expensive. Like some decks are as cheap as $200. And then, other ones are a little bit more expensive, maybe closer to like $600, $700, $800. But compared to Modern, when I had to buy into my Modern deck, like my Boros Energy deck, I think I bought in, to be fair, at the time, I bought in with Mardu Energy and Boros Energy together, which was like $1,700 or something like that. And so like that was my real introduction. Well, I did buy a Pioneer deck before that, but that still was like an $800-900 deck. That was the Is It Phoenix deck. And I played like 1 tournament, and then the season moved to Modern. And then I had to turn around and buy $1,700 worth of cards. I was like, Jesus, this is what I'm getting into to do this thing. And but then I got excited for Standard. I'm like, oh, these decks are obtainable and relatively inexpensive. But because of that, it tricks you, and you end up buying a deck here, a deck there. Then you're like, oh, hey, I have the core of this. So this happened to me with red. So like I had mono red aggro, and then the Gruul came out. So I had to buy the Gruul cards. Oh, then the Boros version came out. Oh, I got to just buy the Boros cards. And then some additions were made to the mono red stack, and so you buy those, and then and then you're like, oh man, I'm enjoying this deck, but I would really like to try out this other deck. So you buy into something like, I think I bought into Esper Pixie, and wanted to play Esper Pixie, and a lot of those cards are in the Dimir deck. So then you end up buying the cards for the Dimir deck. And then now you have a really solid black base and you're like, oh, I'll just do the Gruul deck. And so yeah, it's been creeping up on me. And then because I got Gruul, I had a decent start to some of the green cards. And so I ended up getting into Domain Overlords as well. So I actually have Domain Overlords arriving over the next few days as well. So it's a crazy world, and it's something I have to be aware of. But once you get the base, I think once you have the base of a lot of these decks, it's a lot cheaper. It's just like, hey, $20 here, $30 there, just to buy a set or two, a play set or two of some specific cards because you already have the base. So the same thing happened to me over in Modern. I tried Boros Energy, had the Mardu cards, and then Jeskai started performing. So I started buying the Jeskai cards. And then you start having like the nice thing about like Modern and Pioneer is once you have the mana bases, you're pretty good. So starting to grow my mana base over in the Modern Pioneer world, and that's helped a ton. But all that to be said, that was my long-winded explanation of how there's like cost creep with this game, and you do have to make sacrifices elsewhere, right? Like I'm not spending money on like going out or food, or like I don't buy like clothes and other stuff, and you're not doing a lot of other like financially intensive things to be able to afford this hobby and afford what you're doing. So, but at the same time, it does put a lot of weight and a lot of pressure on yourself because it's a big financial investment, it's a big time investment, and then you show up and you're not doing so well. And circling back to why I started doing this thing in the first place, it's been all about trying to enjoy the process. And I think I do have a tendency to try to make things happen quickly, and I am a little impatient. So I think what I really need to start focusing on is just continuing my gameplay, perfecting my gameplay, continuing my research, card knowledge, matchup knowledge, things like that, and then continue to play my decks as long as they're viable decks in the format. If for some reason they completely fall off and they don't even compete anymore, even with upgrades, like, okay, maybe I can give up on it. But I think I need to just start being a little bit more content with what I have and start, just working the process. Because, yeah, I am starting to feel like the financial aspect of it is weighing into it. The time aspect is weighing into it. But this might be a little bit more pessimistic than I normally am, just because I feel really bad about getting 5th place. I really was trying to get that 4th into that top 4. I would have felt really good about the top 4 cut. Obviously, my goal is to try to get the RC invite as well. So yeah, I'm just a competitive person, so I feel bad for losing. But at the same time, I gotta look back on the day. I got 5th place out of 14 folks, so not a terrible result. My started strong on the day, went 3-0 before I got my 2 losses. I played really solid. I think there was only one time where I had to go like, hey, I'm talking this out. I'm not committing to a move. And I think it confused, maybe not confused the other player, but it was like, I don't know, the interaction. Like I didn't want to frustrate him. I wasn't trying to upset him or anything. I wasn't trying to do anything shady. I was just like, okay, this is how I want to block. And they're like, all right, we're moving to blocks. I'm like, no, we're not moving to blocks yet. Like I wanted to figure it out and figure out what my moves would be and what I'm trying to do. And so that was probably the only thing. I think I sideboarded well. I had the right strategy. The 2 decks I lost against was blue-white control, and I don't think it was domain overlords, but because I never saw, maybe it's not Zur overlords. It could have been domain overlords because it was like a green-white, could have just been green-white overlords. Could have been. But that's what I lost to. These just boards that would just get big for like the green white overlords deck, and then the other one they just absolutely controlled it, using temporary lockdowns and sunfalls and things like that. So it was I couldn't beat them fast enough, and I think maybe I needed, like, the only thing I could think of is maybe mulligan for a more aggressive hand. So perfect curve, aiming for like that hand that wins on turn 4, which I did get one of those on the blue-white control. My first game, it was a turn 4 win for me. So I needed to kind of really aim for that, I think, with those bigger decks, because I think we saw it in the PT that with that Domain Overlords decks, they basically take a bunch of damage from red and then start to get life gain back, and then they stabilize, and then they just make a bunch of big stuff on the board that red can't deal with. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I think I sideboarded correctly. I think I played well. So I think I need to just look at those positive things. I'm just obviously disappointed in the result is what I'm getting at. But all in all, we got some really exciting things coming up. We are going, I don't know why I'm talking in like the group sense. I am going to Charlotte for the regional championships. So my intent is to make some content there. But in all honesty, like, I'm trying to focus on the tournament. So I'll probably do some like RCQ vlogs. I want to do some actual regional championship vlogs. So I will be vlogging throughout the day during the regional championship on Saturday. If I make it to day 2, I'll be doing a vlog for day 2 as well. And then I will likely, in between all of that, try to do like an overall like regional championship vlog. Like, hey, what was this whole thing like? Maybe just like a recap one. Try to take some like B-roll and some footage and things like that. If I have an opportunity to do anything more interesting, I will do so. But I really want to focus more on competing during my time there. So there's a bunch of what's called RCQ opportunities. So it's an opportunity while you're at a regional championship to qualify for the next regional championship. And so there's like 4 of those on Friday. So I'm going to get in on Thursday, Friday. There will be 4. And the way they work, they're every like 3 or 4 hours. That if you go 5-0, then you get the invite for the next one. So if you lose early in your matches, then you can just go ahead and try to queue up for the next one and the next one and the next one. So you get a lot of shots at it if you lose early. So that's my goal. Try to get it in as many RCQs as possible. And then we have the tournament on Saturday. And then that's going to be modern. Some of the RCQs are modern. Some of the other RCQs are standard. So I'm going to bring a couple of my standard decks. I'm going to have obviously my modern deck still up in the air as to what I'm going to play. But it's either going to be my Boros Energy, which I've mentioned, or a Jeskai Energy or a Mardu Energy, some sort of red-based energy deck. Then I'm also entertaining like Domain Aggro as another deck that I might play. But it's to be determined based on what cards I can get my hands on. And then I have a couple standard decks. I will probably bring like my Red Deck Wins deck that I played today, or something similar to it, maybe a Gruul version. And then I will, if all of my Domain cards are here, I'm bringing my Domain deck as well. So got a few decks I'm going to be bringing, I'm going to be competing with. And overall, I'm just going to enjoy the event and try to get the most out of my regional championship and share it with you. So if you've made it this far in the video, you should do the thing. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and we'll catch you in the next one.